Welcome back into the Motor Index, folks, and welcome back to another video. Today we are previewing this weekend's NASCAR Cup Series race at Kansas Speedway, one of the best racetracks on the circuit without a doubt. Some people would even say it's the best. I don't know if I would say that. I'd definitely say it's in the top two or three, though, as far at the moment, which is always fun when you have got one of those tracks lined up on the schedule and you know it going into it. It's going to be at very worst, it's going to be a decent weekend. At very best, it's going to be a really, really good race weekend. And I tend to lean that way. I think it will be a really entertaining race. I'm really excited for this race this weekend. And I think people look back at last week at Texas, another intermediate track, and I think a lot of the opinions are very skewed on that because of Joey Logano winning. A lot of people don't like Joey Logano, and I feel like the impressions of that race would have been a lot better had a more fan favorite driver would have won that race. And now look, I get some of the complaints. Like there was a lot of cautions and a lot of restarts and whatnot, but I thought it was a pretty good race, all things considered. And I think we're definitely in store for a much better race this weekend. But I think when we got such a big conglomerate of the fan base and journalists and whatnot complaining about the car and the racing and whatnot, and some of the complaints are very valid, but when you look at this intermediate uh, package, it's really, really good. It is really good. The racing is really good. Um, I love it. I haven't seen very many people complaining about it, but knowing NASCAR fans, they're going to find a way to complain about it one way or another. But no, let's get it back onto a positive note. I did, I guess, not, I guess we're not going to stay on a positive note. I guess the last race here was in the fall, somewhat underwhelming. I mean, you can't compare it to that race in the spring, because that race in the spring was next level stuff. Like that was legitimately top, potentially a top five race I've ever watched in my life. So you can't really compare it to that, because if you're trying to compare it to that, you're going to be disappointed, which it's kind of what happened there. Like the ending of that race in the fall was not that bad. It was, I mean, kind of more reminiscent of typical intermediate finishes that we've seen at other tracks and even at Kansas at some points. So I mean, we'll see what happens here. I don't expect it to be, a top five race ever, but I definitely expect it to be one of the better races of the season for sure. And I kind of expect that with all these intermediates, but Kansas especially. Um, yeah, and I mean, I think this is a weekend where a big driver is going to win. I don't see there being, I mean, you could even say last week with Joey Logano and definitely the week before with Cindric. I don't consider Logano one of these like upset picks. Like everybody likes to float around the, oh, Joey Logano only wins in lucky ways and whatnot, and that he obviously doesn't run as well consistently week after week compared to some of the more top tier drivers. But to say a guy who's won 37 times in the Cup Series and then I don't know however many times in Xfinity and whatnot is, bad or lucky, you don't get lucky 37 times in the Cup Series. And with three championships, Daytona 500, you name it, he's won it. Joey Logano is definitely one of the best drivers in this sport. And to say that was a lucky win or to kind of claim that he's an upset win, I just don't see it. I mean, they said the same thing last year when he had the second most wins in the Cup Series. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell people. So yeah, but let's get on to some more different topics with Kansas. A lot of the talk recently, obviously, we had the Homestead announcement. The championship weekend will be returning back to Homestead, Miami, at least in 2026. But as NASCAR stated, it will be a rotation. And a lot of fans have really speculated as to whether Kansas would be in that because of it's kind of a similar type of racetrack or compared to Homestead, or at least, less of a wild card race and more of a race where A, it's entertaining racing, but B, doesn't have that wild card factor, and the best drivers tend to run at the front, and that's really what you want in the championship race. You don't want the battle for the championship being in like 18th. You want it to being for the lead. So I definitely would like to see Kansas, at least in the next 3 or 4 years, get a chance to host the championship race to display just how good this track is. And I would like, and this is the other thing with, especially with Homestead, but with the championship race as a whole, because of the tracks we're going to with the championship or we're planning on going to, I don't think it should just be limited to one date. Like, do we really want to give Kansas just the championship? Just like with Homestead, they're saying it's going to be just at Homestead for the championship. Like, I'm sorry, I'd rather see two Homestead races than two Bristol races, for the matter of fact, or I would even go as far as to say two Martinsville races right now. And a lot of you might get mad about that, but it's more entertaining racing at the moment. So until those tracks get, or until they fix the car and make the proper adjustments, these titles are going to have to be decided, I think, at the intermediate tracks. So, and I want to see those tracks keep two dates. So, but yeah, let's just get on into my picks now. I've talked too much about this track. All right, so there's a lot of ways we can go with this because, like I said, I think it's going to be one of the top drivers. I don't see this being, a real big upset potential factor playing into here. But as far as my race winner goes, I'm gonna go with Christopher Bell. I was watching the NASCAR Full Speed last night, and you really saw Christopher Bell was really good in Kansas, and then got it kind of on the wrong end there of the strategy, and things just didn't work out. Kind of similarly how they didn't work out in Las Vegas in the playoffs last year as well. So he's just such a good intermediate driver, and that team is really good. I do expect some of the other Toyotas to be fast as well. Denny Hamlin, Bubba Wallace, Tyler Reddick. Tyler Reddick's one I really think this could be the weekend for the first win of 2025. Same with Bubba Wallace, and Hamlin's already got 2 wins, but all 4 of those drivers from Toyota that I mentioned, I think will be in the mix and could definitely win. I'm going with Christopher Bell. I think obviously had that three straight wins. He's talked about wanting to get to double-digit wins. I don't think that's going to happen. That would be a pretty outrageous ask. But I think 6 or 7 wins is absolutely on the table for Christopher Bell because just look at the tracks we still got to go to and some of the tracks he's good at that we go back to. Yeah, Christopher Bell could absolutely win 7 or 8 races potentially, and I think this could be one of them, and I'm picking him to do it. Some other guys who I think could be in the mix, I think all of Hendrick Motorsports really could be in it. Yeah, William Byron almost won this race in the fall. Obviously, Larson won that photo finish in the spring. So yeah, I think all of Hendrick Motorsports will be in the mix. I think most of Penske will probably be in the mix. Obviously Ryan Blaney. We know how good Ryan Blaney's been this whole season, especially on these types of racetracks. You could even throw Austin Cindric in here because look how good Austin Cindric ran last week. And, some of that could be attributed to, and why I'm also throwing Joey Logano into this mix, attributed to the good finish the week prior, both of them winning the last 2 races, having the best qualifying position the following week. That's really played a big factor. And I think all those guys, for whatever reason, just given that qualifying advantage, could potentially go on to have a good run here. I obviously don't see Cindric winning this race, but Blaney and Logano certainly could be in the mix. I don't know if Blaney's won here, but I'm almost certain I know Joey Logano's won here before. But yeah, all these guys who I mentioned, I think a big driver is going to win. I'm going with Christopher Bell. So yeah, with that being said, next week, I just wanted to say this. I am going to change the format of this channel a little bit. Make some changes, but they're going to be really good. I'm going to be a little more long form. I'll post some clips as well from the long form, show, because I want to get a little more deeper into these topics and, go into some more depth and then maybe even do some more different style of videos because right now I've really just been doing preview videos and maybe some recaps occasionally. And I think with the longer form, I'll get to sit down, I'll do some more planning, and we'll have different segments, and I'll post some clips of those segments. But I want to do a longer form where I can dive into multiple topics in one sitting. So that'll be great. I think I've got a name for it, so you'll see that when it comes out. I'll probably do another video before that happens, but and kind of give an update on this. But it's going to be a more podcasty type setting. kind of minimalist editing, kind of like you see here, but it's gonna be good. It'll give me a lot more opportunity to get more deeper into my thoughts about this sport and give a lot more detail as to what I'm seeing and what I think the average fan needs to hear about and see, because that's really why I do this, is because I see the need for somebody with like somebody like me with my perspective, putting it in the words that new fans like myself, or at least like people who I want to become like me, need to hear, because I don't hear it from a lot of the NASCAR media. So, with that being said, thank you all so much for watching. Please like and subscribe and enjoy the race this weekend. Take care, everybody. God bless.